Captain Lisa Thomas stood at the viewing window of the massive Galactic Council station, watching the stars. She adjusted her Blue Earth Diplomatic Corps uniform and took a deep breath. After decades of searching the stars, humans had finally developed faster-than-light travel and made contact with the wider galactic community. Now, as the leader of Earth's first diplomatic team, she carried the hopes of humanity on her shoulders. "Captain Thomas, they're ready for us," said Jack, her assistant, interrupting her thoughts. Lisa nodded and followed him into the grand chamber where representatives from over 50 alien species sat in rising tiers around a central platform. The room buzzed with dozens of languages, all translated through the small device in her ear. As the Earth team entered, Lisa noticed several aliens turning to stare. A group of tall, gray-skinned beings with 4 arms whispered among themselves while pointing at the humans. Lisa kept her face neutral, though she felt like a zoo animal on display. The council leader, a dignified being with smooth purple skin and golden eyes, raised all 4 of his hands. "We welcome our new friends from Earth to this historic session," he announced. "Today marks Earth's formal introduction to the Galactic Council." The ceremony proceeded as planned. Lisa presented Earth's credentials and accepted the official recognition document. But throughout the proceedings, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was odd. Many delegates seemed to be studying the humans with unusual intensity. Later, at the reception, Lisa sipped a glass of something that tasted almost like apple juice while making polite conversation with various delegates. She was explaining Earth's climate zones to a small, furry ambassador when a tall, blue-skinned alien approached. "Captain Thomas," he said in nearly perfect English, "I am Thorin, Chief Geological Scientist of the Council. Might I ask you some questions about your world?" "Of course," Lisa replied with a diplomatic smile. Thorin tilted his elongated head. "Our preliminary scans of your planet show unusual stability patterns. How frequently does Earth experience major tectonic events?" The question seemed strange, but Lisa answered professionally. "We have earthquakes regularly, if that's what you mean. The Pacific Ring of Fire is particularly active." "And how many cities do you lose annually to these events?" Thorin asked, his 6 fingers tapping on his datapad. Lisa blinked in surprise. "Lose? We don't lose cities to earthquakes, at least not in modern times. We have building codes, early warning systems." "Fascinating," Thorin interrupted, his large eyes widening. "And volcanic eruptions. How many population centers are destroyed each decade?" Lisa was becoming uncomfortable. "None, generally speaking. We monitor active volcanoes closely. Evacuations happen when necessary." Thorin's blue skin seemed to pale. "Evacuations. You have time for evacuations?" "Usually, yes," Lisa said, now thoroughly confused. "Our geological surveys can predict most major volcanic activity." The alien scientist stared at her for a long moment. "And sun emis. Surely those must claim at least some of your coastal regions each year." "We have warning systems for those too," Lisa explained. "There are casualties sometimes, but nothing on the scale you seem to be suggesting." Thorin looked around as if checking whether others were listening, then leaned closer. "Captain Thomas, either your understanding of your planet is severely limited or Earth is highly unusual." Before Lisa could respond, Thorin was called away by another delegate. She watched him go, noticing how he immediately fell into intense conversation with several other aliens, all of them occasionally glancing back at the human delegation. Jack appeared at her side. "Everything okay, Captain?" Lisa took another sip of her drink. "I'm not sure. That scientist was asking odd questions about natural disasters on Earth. He seemed shocked by my answers." "Maybe their planets are different," Jack suggested. "Maybe," Lisa agreed. But as the reception continued, she noticed more aliens watching her with what seemed like a mixture of curiosity and concern. Something was definitely strange, and Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's entry into galactic society might be more complicated than anyone had expected. 1 week after returning to Earth, Lisa sat in Director Marcus Wells' office at Diplomatic Court headquarters in Geneva. The large windows offered a view of the peaceful lake and mountains beyond. Lisa had just finished describing her strange encounter with Thorin. "So an alien asked you about earthquakes," Marcus said, leaning back in his chair. "I'm not sure why that requires my attention, Captain." Lisa shook her head. It wasn't just the questions, sir. It was his reaction. He seemed shocked that we don't regularly lose entire cities to natural disasters. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Perhaps their world is more geologically active than ours." "That's what I thought too," Lisa said. "But then I noticed other delegates having the same reaction when discussing Earth's geology. Something about our planet surprises them." Before Marcus could respond, his computer chimed. He glanced at the screen and frowned. "Well, that's a strange coincidence. We just received an official request from the Galactic Council's Science Division. They want access to Earth's historical records of natural disasters. All of them." Lisa asked. "Everything we have. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, major floods, dating back as far as our records go." Marcus looked up at Lisa. "Maybe you're onto something, Captain." 3 days later, after Earth had sent its complete database of geological events, Marcus called Lisa back to his office. This time, Dr. Alan Reed, Earth's leading xenogeologist, was also present. The middle-aged scientist with salt and pepper hair looked troubled. "The council sent a response," Marcus said, pushing a tablet across his desk. "They claim our data must be incomplete or falsified." Lisa picked up the tablet and read the message. "They don't believe our records. Why would we lie about natural disasters?" According to their preliminary analysis, Dr. Reed said, "Earth shows impossibly low levels of tectonic activity for a planet with our geological profile. They're essentially accusing us of hiding something." "Hiding what?" Lisa asked. "That we have more earthquakes than we're admitting to." Marcus stood and walked to the window. "No, they think we're hiding how we've managed to prevent or control these disasters. They believe we must have some advanced technology that we're not sharing with the galactic community." "But we don't," Lisa said. "Our geological early warning systems are good, but they're not miraculous. We still have earthquakes and tsunamis that cause damage and casualties. Just not on the scale they apparently expect." Reed added, "I've been reviewing some of the comparative data they sent. It's incredible. Some of these worlds experience what we would consider extinction-level events every few decades. Yet their civilizations continue." Marcus turned back from the window. "The Council has formally requested a joint scientific mission. They want to send a team of their geologists to Earth to conduct their own studies. In return, they're offering us access to their database of planetary geology throughout the galaxy. An opportunity to study how other planets work," Reed said, his eyes lighting up with scientific curiosity. "We'd be fools to turn that down." "I agree," Marcus said, "but we need someone to lead our side of the investigation, someone who already has a relationship with the Council." He looked directly at Lisa. "Captain Thomas, I'm assigning you to work with Dr. Reed on this project. Find out why the aliens find Earth's natural disaster frequency so unusual." Lisa nodded slowly. "And if we discover they're right, that Earth is somehow different from other planets, then we need to know why," Marcus said firmly. "Because if Earth truly is geologically unique in the galaxy, that could have huge implications for our future in the galactic community." As Lisa and Dr. Reed left the office, the scientist turned to her with a puzzled expression. "In all my years studying geology, I never imagined that having fewer disasters might be seen as suspicious." Lisa smiled grimly. "Welcome to galactic politics, Doctor. It seems even the ground beneath our feet is now a diplomatic issue." The Galactic Council's Central Archives was housed in a massive structure that looked like a giant crystal dome. Lisa and Dr. Reed stepped off the transport ship, gazing up at the shimmering building that contained the collected knowledge of thousands of worlds. I never thought I'd get to see this place, Dr. Reed whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. Thorin was waiting for them at the entrance. The blue-skinned scientist bowed slightly. Captain Thomas, Dr. Reed, welcome to the archives. Our geological research team is eager to begin working with you. Inside, they were led to a large circular room filled with holographic displays showing planets, moons, and star systems. A diverse group of alien scientists worked at various stations. These are the complete geological records for all life-bearing planets in the known galaxy, Thorin explained, gesturing to the displays. Over 300 worlds where complex life evolved. And you have data on the natural disaster rates for all of them? Lisa asked. Of course, Thorin replied. Understanding planetary stability is crucial for predicting the rise and fall of civilizations. Dr. Reed moved to one of the screens, studying the data. Can we organize this by tectonic activity levels compared to Earth? Thorin made a gesture, and the displays reorganized. Earth appeared at the far end of the sequence, isolated from all other planets. This can't be right, Reed muttered, adjusting his glasses. According to this, every other life-bearing world experiences catastrophic events at rates 50 to 100 times higher than Earth. Lisa moved closer to the display. That's impossible. How could any civilization survive that? Most don't, at least not long-term, came a raspy voice from behind them. They turned to see an elderly reptilian alien with faded green scales approaching slowly with the help of a walking stick. Species adapt or perish. This is Vex, Thorin said respectfully. He has been the head archivist here for over 200 years. Vex's ancient eyes studied the humans. Your world is an anomaly. A planet with Earth's geological profile should experience major continental disruptions at least monthly. Yet you report only occasional regional events. Monthly, Dr. Reed repeated in disbelief. Continental-scale disasters monthly. That would make civilization impossible. For most species, yes, Vex agreed. Which is why advanced civilizations are rare in our galaxy. Most are destroyed before they develop space travel. Lisa looked at the data again. This planet here, Novan, shows 5 major tectonic events in just the last cycle. What happened? Thorin's face grew solemn. 3 cities were swallowed by sudden crust displacement. 2 more were destroyed by volcanic eruptions. Nearly 7 million lives were lost. And that's normal? Lisa asked, horrified. It is the reality of life in the galaxy, Vex said simply, which is why your Earth is so puzzling. At first, the Council thought you must have developed advanced technology to control tectonic forces. We haven't, Dr. Reed insisted. Our technology can only predict events, not prevent them. Vex nodded slowly. So I told the Council, which leaves us with a mystery. Either your planet is unique in the galaxy, or something else is at work. What do you mean? Lisa asked. The old archivist glanced around, then lowered his voice. There is another possibility, one the Council has been reluctant to investigate. Follow me. Vex led them to a private chamber away from the main research area. Once inside, he sealed the door and activated a privacy field. Centuries ago, a scientist proposed a theory that was dismissed by the Council, Vex explained. She suggested that intelligent species might unconsciously influence their planet's geological stability. That's impossible, Dr. Reed scoffed. How could mere biological organisms affect planetary-scale forces? Is it impossible? Vex challenged. On most worlds, as civilizations advance technologically, natural disasters actually increase in frequency and severity. Only on Earth do we see the opposite pattern. Lisa and Reed exchanged looks of surprise. I believe you should investigate Earth's deep geological history, Vex suggested. See if something changed when humans appeared. Meanwhile, with your permission, Council scientists will monitor Earth's tectonic activity with our advanced equipment. Looking for what? Lisa asked. Vex's ancient eyes seemed to peer into some distant past. Patterns that no one has thought to look for before. patterns that might explain why, alone among all worlds in our records, Earth grows more stable rather than less. Back on Earth, a team of alien scientists set up monitoring equipment at key locations along major fault lines. Dr. Reed led them to the San Andreas Fault in California, where they began installing devices that looked like small silver pyramids. These sensors can detect energy patterns deep within the planet's crust, explained Dr. Mira, a feline-like alien with spotted fur who led the Council's scientific team. They're far more sensitive than anything humans have developed. Lisa watched as the devices burrowed into the ground. How long until we have results? The initial readings will be available tomorrow, Mira replied, but comprehensive analysis might take weeks. Meanwhile, in a makeshift lab set up at Earth's Geological Survey headquarters, Dr. Reed worked with another team examining Earth's deep history. They analyzed ice core samples, ancient rock formations, and fossil records. 3 days later, Lisa received an urgent message from Dr. Mira asking her to come to the monitoring station immediately. When she arrived, the alien scientists were gathered around a holographic display, looking confused. "Captain Thomas," Mira said, her tail swishing nervously, "we've detected something unusual beneath the crust. Energy patterns unlike anything we've seen on other worlds." The hologram showed waves of soft blue light pulsing through Earth's layers, seeming to calm areas of building pressure before they could reach critical levels. "What is it?" Lisa asked. "We don't know," Mira admitted. "It's as if your planet has some kind of natural pressure release system that activates before major events can occur." Dr. Reed burst into the room, looking excited. "I think I've found something." He noticed the hologram and paused. "What's that?" After Mira explained, Reed nodded vigorously. "That might confirm what I've discovered." He placed a tablet on the table. "I've been comparing historical disaster rates throughout Earth's history. Look at this graph." The screen showed a line that started high, then gradually sloped downward over millions of years, with a much steeper decline starting around 300,000 years ago. "The frequency of major geological events has been steadily declining," Reed explained, "and the most significant drop began precisely when early humans appeared and started spreading across the planet." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. "That's impossible," one of the alien scientists finally said. "Biological organisms can't influence planetary geology." "And yet the data suggests otherwise," Reed replied. "I've cross-referenced disaster rates with human population density across different regions throughout history. There's an inverse correlation. Areas with higher human population experience fewer disasters." Mira's large eyes widened. "Are you suggesting that humans are somehow dampening Earth's geological activity without even knowing it?" "It sounds crazy," Lisa admitted, "but what other explanation fits the evidence?" Vex, who had traveled to Earth with the science team, spoke up from where he sat in a corner. "It fits with the ancient theory I mentioned. Some species might evolve specifically in response to their planet's needs." "Planets don't have needs," another scientist objected. "They're just rocks." "Are they?" Vex challenged. "We've discovered living organisms in the most extreme environments. Deep sea vents, acid lakes, even the vacuum of space. Is it so hard to imagine that a planet itself might have systems we don't fully understand?" Word of the discovery spread quickly through the Galactic Council. Some members reacted with scientific curiosity, but others with fear. If humans could unconsciously influence something as powerful as plate tectonics, what else might they be capable of? A special council meeting was called to discuss the findings. Some representatives argued that Earth should be quarantined until humans could be properly studied. Others suggested that humans might pose a threat to the natural order. "This is getting out of hand," Lisa told Dr. Reed as they prepared for the meeting. "We didn't know we were doing anything unusual." "That's what scares them," Reed replied. "Imagine discovering a species with powers they don't even know they have." "We need proof," Lisa said firmly. "Not just theories and correlations. We need to demonstrate this effect in a controlled way. Reed nodded thoughtfully. I think I know how we might do that. The council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from across the galaxy debated the Earth situation. Lisa and Dr. Reed sat at the human delegation's table, facing the semicircle of alien diplomats. We propose a controlled experiment, Lisa announced, silencing the room, to test whether humans truly affect geological stability. What kind of experiment? Asked the council leader, leaning forward with interest. Dr. Reed stood up. We've identified a remote volcanic island in Earth's Pacific Ocean. It's geologically active, but has been stable for centuries. It has a small human population of about 500 people. He displayed a holographic map showing the island's location. We propose temporarily evacuating everyone from the island for 2 weeks, Reed continued. If our theory is correct, we should see an increase in seismic activity once humans are removed. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Finally, Thorin spoke. The experiment has merit, but how can we be sure other factors won't influence the results? Your own monitoring equipment will be in place, Lisa answered, and will maintain all other variables. No drilling, no water table changes, nothing that might artificially trigger activity. After hours of debate, the council approved the experiment. 1 week later, all residents of Vanu Island were temporarily relocated to the mainland. Council scientists placed their monitoring devices across the island's dormant volcano and along its fault lines. On the first day, nothing changed. By the third day, the monitoring equipment showed small tremors beginning beneath the island. On day 5, the dormant volcano began emitting steam for the first time in over a century. The seismic activity has increased by 83% since the humans left. Dr. Mira reported, her tail swishing with excitement as she reviewed the data, and the magma chamber pressure is rising steadily. On day 8, the ground on Vanu Island began visibly shaking. Small fissures opened in several locations. The council observation team had to evacuate to ships offshore as the volcano showed signs of imminent eruption. I think we've seen enough, Lisa said, looking at the live feed from the monitoring equipment. We should bring the people back before things get worse. The council agreed. The next morning, the island's residents returned to their homes. Within hours, the seismic activity began to decrease. By evening, the volcano had stopped steaming. 2 days later, all readings had returned to normal baseline levels. The effect is undeniable, Dr. Mira announced at the emergency council session that followed. Humans exert some form of dampening influence on geological instability. But how? Demanded one of the skeptical council members. By what mechanism could biological organisms affect plate tectonics? Dr. Reed cleared his throat. We have a theory. Our planet is filled with microorganisms that exist deep within the crust. We've recently discovered that some of these microbes can be influenced by the electromagnetic fields generated by large groups of humans. These microorganisms might help release pressure gradually, Mira added, rather than allowing it to build up into catastrophic events. In effect, Lisa explained, humans and these microbes have evolved together in a symbiotic relationship. We stabilize the planet that houses us. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. If this is true, Vex said finally, it would explain why Earth is the only planet we found with both an active geology and a stable surface. Humans evolved not despite Earth's geological activity, but because of it. We've been looking at this all wrong, Lisa realized. We thought Earth was peaceful compared to other worlds. But maybe Earth would be just as volatile as any other planet if humans weren't here. Your species may have evolved specifically to be planetary stabilizers, Thorin said, his tone filled with wonder. Nature's solution to a violently active world. Dr. Reed nodded slowly, which raises a fascinating question. If humans can stabilize Earth, could we potentially do the same for other worlds? The council erupted in excited discussion. For the first time, many delegates looked at the humans not with fear, but with hope. Captain Thomas, the council leader, said, "I believe your discovery may change the course of galactic history." Lisa smiled. "Perhaps this is why we were meant to join the galactic community. Not just to learn from you, but to help create a more stable galaxy for all species." News of the Vanu Island experiment spread quickly across Earth. People were shocked to learn they might have been unconsciously stabilizing the planet all along. Some scientists remained skeptical, demanding more evidence before accepting such an extraordinary claim. "One experiment isn't enough," Director Marcus told Lisa and Dr. Reed during a video call. "The council is asking if we'd be willing to conduct additional tests on a larger scale." "What kind of tests?" Lisa asked, concerned. "They want to temporarily evacuate a larger region, one with significant geological instability," Marcus explained. "They've suggested the area around Mount Fuji in Japan or the Yellowstone caldera in the United States." Dr. Reed shook his head firmly. "Too dangerous. Both of those locations could cause catastrophic damage if they destabilize completely. We can't risk it." "I agree," Lisa said, "but we do need more data." After much discussion, they developed a modified approach. Instead of completely evacuating a large area, they would gradually reduce population density in several test locations around the world, monitoring the results with the Council's equipment. 3 weeks later, Lisa stood with Dr. Mira and Thorin in a monitoring center, watching data from test sites in Iceland, Chile, and New Zealand. In each location, temporary incentives had reduced the population by approximately 30%. "The results are consistent across all sites," Mira reported. "Seismic activity increases in direct proportion to the reduction in human population density." Thorin studied the readings. "Even more interesting, the effect appears stronger when humans are awake and active. During local night hours, when most humans are sleeping, the stabilization effect weakens slightly. That supports our theory about electromagnetic fields," Dr. Reed said, joining them with a fresh cup of coffee. "Human brain activity generates these fields, and they're stronger during waking hours." Lisa pointed to another screen showing global patterns. "Look at this. Major population centers act as stability anchors. The effect radiates outward, with decreasing strength over distance. That would explain why uninhabited regions like the mid-ocean ridges still experience significant activity," Thorin noted. As the experiments continued, Council scientists made another discovery. The stabilization effect wasn't unique to humans. It appeared to occur with all Earth mammals to some degree, though humans produced the strongest effect by far. "It's as if all mammals evolved with this ability," Dr. Mira explained during a council briefing. "But humans developed it most strongly, perhaps because they spread to inhabit the entire planet." A council member raised a hand. "Could this ability be transferred to other worlds? If humans settled on another geologically active planet, would they stabilize it too?" "That's the million-credit question," Thorin responded, "and the reason why this discovery is so significant for the galaxy. Many worlds throughout the galaxy faced constant destruction from geological activity. Civilizations built and rebuilt, never achieving the long-term stability needed for true advancement. If humans could help stabilize these worlds, it would change everything." When Lisa returned to her temporary quarters that evening, she found Vex waiting for her. The old archivist looked more energetic than she had ever seen him. "Captain Thomas," he said, his reptilian eyes bright with excitement, "I found something in the archives that you must see." He handed her an ancient data crystal. "This contains records from a civilization that vanished over 50,000 years ago. They were advanced researchers of planetary sciences." "What's on it?" Lisa asked, turning the crystal in her hand. "They had a name for species like yours," Vex said softly. "They called them guardian species, beings naturally evolved to stabilize volatile planets." "Guardian species," Lisa repeated. Vex nodded. "According to their theories, such species would be incredibly rare but vital for the long-term survival of complex life in the galaxy. They predicted that guardian species would eventually join the wider galactic community and help bring stability to worlds beyond their own. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Are you saying they predicted humans would exist? Not humans specifically, Vex clarified. But they predicted that eventually, somewhere in the galaxy, a guardian species would evolve. And now, it seems, we found you. This changes how we see ourselves, Lisa said quietly. We didn't just happen to evolve on Earth. We evolved specifically because Earth needed us. Vex smiled, showing rows of pointed teeth. Perhaps that is true of all intelligent life, Captain. We each evolved to serve the needs of our worlds. Yours simply needed guardians. 6 months after the initial discovery, the Galactic Council held a special ceremony on Earth. Representatives from over 200 worlds gathered in a grand assembly hall built specifically for the occasion. Thousands of humans watched on screens worldwide as their planet officially joined the interstellar community. Lisa stood on the stage beside Director Marcus, Dr. Reed, and Earth's political leaders. Across from them stood the council representatives, with Thorin, Dr. Mira, and Vex in places of honor. Today marks not just the admission of a new member to our galactic family, the council leader announced, but the recognition of a truly remarkable species. The massive screen behind him displayed images from planets across the galaxy, worlds ravaged by constant geological upheaval, civilizations rebuilding after devastating natural disasters. For countless cycles, we believed this was the natural order, the council leader continued. That all living worlds must endure violent geological processes. We built our societies to withstand destruction, always rebuilding, never truly stable. The images shifted to show Earth, its steady continents, its cities standing for centuries in the same locations. We now understand that Earth represents another path, one where a planet and its dominant species evolve together in harmony. Humans did not conquer Earth's geological forces, they became part of them. Dr. Reed had spent months studying the ancient records Vex discovered. Working with scientists from dozens of worlds, he confirmed what the long-vanished civilization had theorized. Guardian species were evolution's answer to volatile planets. The evidence suggests this wasn't an accident, Reed explained when it was his turn to speak. Human physiology produces very specific electromagnetic patterns that influence microorganisms deep within Earth's crust. These microbes, in turn, help release pressure gradually along fault lines. In other words, Lisa added, humans didn't change Earth. We evolved specifically because Earth needed guardians. Over the past months, small groups of human volunteers had visited 3 particularly unstable worlds. On each planet, local scientists documented measurable decreases in seismic activity in areas where humans stayed. The effect wasn't as strong as on Earth, where humans and microbes had co-evolved for hundreds of thousands of years, but it was significant. We are pleased to announce the creation of the Planetary Stabilization Initiative, Director Marcus said. Human volunteers will work alongside council scientists to help stabilize particularly dangerous worlds throughout the galaxy. The audience erupted in applause. For many species who lived in constant fear of destruction, this offered hope they had never known. After the ceremony, Lisa found Vex waiting in a quiet corner. Your life has changed quite dramatically, Captain Thomas, the old archivist observed. Lisa smiled. All our lives have. 6 months ago, we thought we were just another species joining the galactic community. Now we discover we have this responsibility. Not a burden, Vex corrected gently. A purpose. The ancient records suggest guardian species find great fulfillment in their role. The records were right, Lisa admitted. There's something deeply satisfying about knowing humans evolved for a reason, that we're not just an accident of nature. Vex nodded. Now that humans understand their true nature, I suspect you will develop this ability even further. Conscious practice of what was once unconscious may yield remarkable results. In the years that followed, humanity embraced its role as guardians. human settlements spread to worlds previously considered too dangerous for permanent habitation. Ancient alien cities, rebuilt countless times over millennia, finally found stability. Earth scientists discovered ways to enhance the stabilization effect through meditation and focused thought. They trained specialists who could calm geological activity more effectively than ordinary humans. When a previously unknown fault threatened to destroy a major city on Praxis II, a team of human stabilizers arrived just in time to prevent catastrophe. As they worked, local residents watched in awe as the ground beneath their feet grew calm. "How can we ever repay you?" asked the city's leader. Lisa, now Admiral Thomas of the Guardian Corps, smiled. "This is why we exist. We didn't evolve to conquer the stars. We evolved to help them remain stable. We are all part of the same galaxy after all. And now, at last, we understand our place in it." Across the galaxy, humans became known not as conquerors or mere explorers, but as the Guardians, the species that brings calm to the storm.